When in March 2008, employees and staff of Buckingham Palace announced the creation of their own Masonic lodge, Elizabeth II strictly forbade them to hold meetings in the monarch's residence and use her royal monogram in their symbols. However, this is all that the monarch could do to somehow interfere with the work of the Brotherhood, because to ban it completely was not in her power. By that time, the lodge Buckingham Palace had already officially recognized the United Grand Lodge of England, the main governing body of all British Freemasons, the head of which stood then, and still stands, the Duke of Kent, a cousin of the Queen. Interestingly, at the time, Buckingham Palace officials anonymously admitted to the Mail on Sunday that Her Majesty's office was horrified by the staff's decision. In their opinion, the organization of a society inside the royal residence, shrouded in mysticism and conducting the most ancient rituals, is the last thing the British monarchy needed, which took a course on modernization and, as far as possible, democratization. It should be recalled that at that time, there was no question of Kate Middleton as the prince's bride. Meghan Markle was just making her way to Hollywood, and in the collective memory of some Britons still sat the theory that it was the Windsors who killed the only people's princess in the royal family. Diana Spencer knew too much that should never have been made public. And then there is a new mystery, another mysticism, and, as a consequence, another proof that royalty belongs to a limited circle of the elect. Indeed, did the staff at Buckingham Palace 10 years ago simply decide to inflict reputational damage on the Queen? Or was it, on the contrary, just what the royal family needed? Both the openly displayed and secret links between the Windsors and the Brotherhood of Freemasons, and find out if there really is any room for conspiracy theories. In the new century, with many lodges legally organized and meeting in very specific headquarters, Freemasons have often resisted the secret society label, referring to themselves as a secret society. And yet, even the increased publicity over the years helps modern Masons little, because despite the fact that some individuals do not hide their membership in the fraternity, the full list of Masons is still a mystery. And after all, according to various estimates, they number from 4 to 6 million around the world. On the other hand, what the Grand Lodges, umbrella organizations that unite local smaller lodges, sometimes called Grand Orient, cannot do is hide their leadership. For example, it is no secret that Prince Edward, Duke of Kent, is Grand Master of the United Grand Lodge of England, a UGLE, just as it is no secret that his younger brother, Prince Michael of Kent, leads the Grand Lodge of Master Mark Masons and the Provincial Grand Lodge of Middlesex. And then there is a new mystery, another mysticism, and, as a consequence, another proof that royalty belongs to a limited circle of the elect. Indeed, did the staff at Buckingham Palace 10 years ago simply decide to inflict reputational damage on the Queen? Or was it, on the contrary, just what the royal family needed? Both the openly displayed and secret links between the Windsors and the Brotherhood of Freemasons, and find out if there really is any room for conspiracy theories. In the new century, with many lodges legally organized and meeting in very specific headquarters, Freemasons have often resisted the secret society label, referring to themselves as a secret society. And yet, even the increased publicity over the years helps modern Masons little, because despite the fact that some individuals do not hide their membership in the fraternity, the full list of Masons is still a mystery. And after all, according to various estimates, they number from 4 to 6 million around the world. On the other hand, what the Grand Lodges, umbrella organizations that unite local smaller lodges, sometimes called Grand Orient, cannot do is hide their leadership. For example, it is no secret that Prince Edward, Duke of Kent, is Grand Master of the United Grand Lodge of England, UGLE, just as it is no secret that his younger brother, Prince Michael of Kent, leads the Grand Lodge of Master Mark Masons and the Provincial Grand Lodge of Middlesex. And at the head of all this extensive structure is a member of the British royal family. And so it was almost always so. If the leaders of the First Grand Lodge of England FGLA, and the Aula, which grew out of it, were not members of the royal family, they were just prominent aristocrats. What's more, even the historical unification of the lodge took place in 1813, when Prince Augustus Frederick, Duke of Sussex, now the title belongs to Prince Harry, was elected Grand Master. Thus, the first head of the United Grand Lodge of England, which, in fact, still exists today, was a member of the royal family of Great Britain. However, the royal princes were Freemasons even earlier. As noted by the specialized magazine Freemasonry today, the first person from the ruling dynasty joined the Masonic Lodge, it happened in 1737, was Prince Frederick of Wales, who, however, was not destined to take the throne. Later in his footsteps followed his brother, and then 3 of his sons, the youngest of whom, Prince Henry, managed to stand at the head of the then still PVLA, becoming its Grand Master in 1782. Since then, according to the analytical publication Executive Intelligence Review, only 2 heirs to the British throne have not been Freemasons. The official website of the UGLE, meanwhile, specifies, since the moment when the Masons first joined the royal family, of the 9 ruling monarchs subsequently were not Masons only 4, and that 2, it is Queen Victoria and Elizabeth II, who technically could not join the UGLE, because women membership in the fraternity is forbidden. What to speak of royal princes? There have been more than 15 of them in the Freemasons fraternity. The longest period for which the Masonic Lodge has not set foot, August, was only 25 years, and that's only because after the death of the Duke of Sussex in Britain was too few princes of suitable age, because it was the era of the reign of Queen Victoria. However, Her Majesty's first son brought back the old tradition by joining the lodge in 1868 and becoming its Grand Master in 1874. The United Grand Lodge of England makes no secret of the fact that Elizabeth's grandfather, her father, and even her uncle, who abdicated the throne, were all Freemasons. Even Her Majesty's husband, the Duke of Edinburgh, was affiliated with the so-called Navy Lodge, number 2612, where he underwent initiation back in 1952. Prince Charles, who is destined to become king one day and pass the title of Prince of Wales to his eldest son, the Duke of Cambridge, also belongs to the Masonic Brotherhood. Therefore, even if Prince William hasn't joined the fraternity yet, upon becoming first in line to the throne, he will most likely do so, following the old tradition. In any case, at this stage, one can only speculate about whether Princes William and Harry belong to the Brotherhood of Freemasons. However, technically, an association with Freemasonry would not compromise them in any way, since, by declaration, no Masonic lodge is permitted to discuss politics, religion, or any other controversial topics within its walls, subjects on which members of the royal family should avoid making sharp statements or taking drastic actions. Originally founded as a movement for the pursuit of universal love and moral improvement, Freemasonry still officially proclaims charity and enlightenment as its goals. In fact, this is precisely what the Duke of Kent, as Grand Master of the United Grand Lodge of England, has been doing to this day, opening schools, sponsoring universities, and supporting charitable organizations. But then, what displeased the Queen about the Buckingham Palace staff's desire to establish their own lodge? Perhaps the answer is a bit more complicated than it might seem at first glance. What if Elizabeth was not actually opposed, and the official protest was merely a maneuver by Her Majesty to avoid public speculation, of which there is already far too much surrounding Freemasonry? On occasion, Elizabeth could even be seen in the company of a nurse displaying Masonic symbols on her buckle. As we know, symbols rule the world, and Queen Elizabeth II would never have allowed such frivolity without reason. Thus, we can conclude that Her Majesty quietly patronized this organization. While the Queen herself couldn't formally join the United Grand Lodge of England, UGLE, this doesn't mean female Freemasonry doesn't exist in Britain, as it does worldwide, with women conducting work in separate lodges. Considering the royal family's historical ties to the Brotherhood, it becomes difficult to believe Elizabeth had no connection to the Masons whatsoever. By publicly opposing the establishment of a lodge at Buckingham Palace, the Queen shielded herself from public criticism, yet the mere existence of such a brotherhood within Her Majesty's household speaks volumes to the global Masonic community and Grand Masters worldwide. In Britain, Freemasonry is ubiquitous, and the United Lodge continues gaining popularity despite numerous conspiracy theories perpetuated even by the British themselves. If we examine the root of the matter, Freemasonry represents a concentration of power, explains Arina Polyakova. Where elites gather, big money circulates, and money, as we know, means strength and authority. Thus, fundamentally, Masonry aims for dominance. Though each lodge has its own methods and operational approaches, what we see today is merely the outer shell, theatrical rituals masking deeper realities. We must remember how many nations once belonged to the British Empire and now form the Commonwealth, Polyakova asserts. These are countries requiring management and maintained dependence on Britain, where UGLE's Masonic influence plays no small part. Today, the United Grand Lodge of England maintains an extensive network with local Masonic organizations, supporting regional lodges that, in turn, ensure local ruling elites' loyalty to British policies. So, while the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge strengthened Britain's Commonwealth ties through charm offensives and tours, the Duke of Kent, who himself has made over 60 overseas visits, has spent half a century subtly accomplishing the same goal through different means, nurturing a spiritual brotherhood between London and nations spanning nearly every corner of the globe.